Objection to the front of the court. The front of the court recommendation did change custody. It has not yet been implemented. Mr. Chadwick is here on behalf of Mr. Coleman, who's wanting to implement that front of the court recommendation. With Ms. Wright objecting, since this is a change, the burden remains with Tyler Coleman and his attorney, so we will proceed with them. I will note I was contacted by the front of the court yesterday. It appears that I'm sure Mr. Chadwick understands or knows the front of the court representative is on vacation right now and is on an airplane, and there is no way. She thought about coming in if she could, but she's on an airplane and they won't let her. So something about federal flight regulations and stuff, not supposed to have, you're supposed to be on airplane mode. So, but I don't know if it's a he or a she, because her supervisor, who's a he, contacted me and said, you're not going to hold her in contempt or anything. I said, I will deal with this tomorrow, and I will not hold her in contempt. I can't, people plan their vacation months out. I can't adjust everybody's schedule to that. If we have to, we will reserve, if we get through all your witnesses, Mr. Chadwick, we'll reserve on bringing the front of the court in on another day and having their testimony fully integrated. Plus, I have to meet with the child or children? Child. I do have to meet with the child as well as part of this procedure. So one way or the other, I can't give you a decision today. But I wanted to clear that up before we proceeded. So
before we proceed, can I just say one thing? I had been working with an attorney from the public defenders, and I've called the judge's clerk several times. I've called the attorney's office several times. So she has files and files, all of the stuff that she was supposed to submit, and so I have. The
court has received nothing. Who is this attorney?
I know. I have her number saved on my phone.
What is her name?
Hang on, let me. This phone that's got all her information.
Is she filing an appearance on your behalf?
She was filing an appearance on my behalf.
Why isn't she here?
Every single thing, and that's what I don't know.
Well, that's why I'm asking, who is she?
Right. I'm just sorry.
Because normally public defenders don't come into this. That's a whole nother set of law.
And I got approval for that to happen because of the gravity of the situation.
Are you talking about legal aid, perchance?
It was a legal aid, out
of the Ionia area, or
No, it was out of Kent County.
Okay, I was going to say legal aid of West Michigan covers your area as well.
Legal aid of Michigan.
Which attorney were you working with?
I'm trying to find her email right now, because that's where I just emailed her all of every info. Sorry, I have super low vision, so trying to navigate through this is a little bit difficult.
Well, we're all trying to navigate through it. Even if we were live in the courtroom, we'd be trying to navigate through it.
Yeah, well, and that's.
And Mr. Chadwick, I think I did ask you because I think as I brought you in, I asked if there was an attorney, because Ms. Wright, you did indicate in your objection that you were working with an attorney, and nobody's heard from that attorney.
And I can't even get a hold of her after I've sent her all of my evidence and all of that stuff.
Your objection, this objection was in February.
Right.
We're talking
and I was able to
4 months ago.
Until the last 2 weeks, I've been working directly, talking with her and emailing and all of that.
And you don't remember her name?
I can't. And I don't. It's Kaylin, Kate. It was something odd that, it wasn't like Caitlin. It was Kaylin or Kate. I'm trying to find it via my emails back and forth with her. I know. I didn't even know that she didn't fill the paperwork out to represent me until Tyler told me a couple days ago. Until then, I assumed that everything was under control. She had said she had all the paperwork she needed.
Well, I'm pulling up the court docket at this point in time, and there is no appearance by legal aid.
And that is the frustration that I'm having right now.
Well, it's going to get even worse, because this court is going to continue with this hearing. This hearing has been properly noticed. because the court schedules 90 to 120 days out. It's already been almost 4 months since your objection.
Is there a way I can give you that, all the paperwork I submitted to her then? Because that's...
There are ways to do that, yes. You have to send it to the court, and it's going to be considered evidence. And as I told you at your objection hearing, I would have to treat you like an attorney. Evidence comes to the court through a witness on the witness stand under oath. So you would send copies of whatever evidence you're going to give me to Mr. Chadwick and to the court. The court will not look at it until it's entered appropriately as a piece of evidence for the court's review.
Okay, I guess that's where my question, like, is there a way to get to, because I have no idea. I can do that, but I just need some time to do that, seeing how the...
Well, at this point in time, Mr. Chadwick's burden is to present his evidence first. So he will call his witnesses. You will be allowed to cross-examine those witnesses. And if legal aid does step in, legal aid may contact Mr. Chadwick as they normally would, and they may work something out. But we'll see. But I'm afraid as of this morning, the court does have no choice but to proceed, ma'am. Again, this matter has been delayed long enough.
I know, and that's why
I can't act as your attorney, nor as your advocate. As I told you on February 6th, when you filed your objection. And your objection did note that you were working with an attorney then. So whatever you're working with, something's not connecting. So I'm going to allow Mr. Chadwick to proceed with opening statements. Then I'll ask for opening statements from you. And then we'll go through his witnesses. Trust me, we're not going to get to yours anyway this first day. All righty. Mr. Chadwick, would you have an opening statement, sir?
Thank you. This is a case that we've been, that was filed in July of last year. Motion was filed by physical custody as well as parenting time, child support. This is a much longer journey because originally we had filed and it was sent to front of the court for investigation by the judge, and the box was not checked for physical custody. And front of the court correctly assessed that the change in parenting time was a change in custody, and they did not have authority to continue with an investigation at that point. So we withdrew that motion entirely and refiled in July of last year. So this is a much longer process, even than the year that it's been to have this motion heard at this evidentiary hearing. I can tell you in 21 years of practice in law, this is one of the most one-sided and unusual custody motions that I've ever seen. It's almost as if one of the parents has just given up on trying to impress the court at all that she should have custody of a 10-year-old girl.
Ma'am, this process, I would have to concur with Mr. Chadwick. This has been going on well over a year. There are really severe issues here that the court must deal with, but I have to deal with it in an evidentiary hearing. We are going to proceed. Please take a deep breath, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I'm just frustrated because I have all these things that I have hundreds of pages.
There's a lot of things here that are frustrating to everyone, but we're trying to deal with the best interest of a 10-year-old child.
I know.
So we will proceed. You will get to your opening statement momentarily, ma'am. Let Mr. Chadwick finish.
You've got two different households, and that's the court's decision today. Which household is more in Savannah's best interest to have her the majority of the time. And if you look at the track record, school starts in the fall and Savannah will be in the middle school. So far in the elementary school, she has been late or absent from school over 60 times the previous school year. And then this current school year, which is ending this week, almost 24 times she's been late or absent when she's been with mom the night before. So the current parenting time schedule is the problem. Mom has two of those school nights. Dad has two of those school nights, and then You share the fifth one, or does one of you have the fifth one? Right. Okay. Each one has at least two, and it's those overnights where she's with Bob the night before that she is then late. 5 dozen times last school year, 2 dozen times this school year.
When you're saying this school year, are you talking about September of 2023 to June of 2024?
Yes, 23-24 school year.
Okay, so how many times this year?
23.
23 and 60 the year before. So
Yeah.
it's gotten better.
It's gotten
And
better.
I have the paper that
But-
shows
Well, ma'am,
different.
let him finish with his opening statement, and
Yeah,
no
so,
problem. You
Okay.
get yours.
So when you know you've got a custody case, you would think that would be the time to get it cleaned up and impress the court. And the mom has not done that. That's to the detriment of Savannah. I look at tardies as worse than absences. If you take a day off from school for whatever reason, excused or unexcused, you don't have to deal with your classmates. But when you show up for class half hour late, an hour late, and you have to walk into that classroom that's already been started, all eyes are on you when you walk through that door, and you have to quickly get to your seat. You wish it didn't happen. That's not the child's fault. That's going to be the fault of a parent. Contrast that with the school nights that Tyler Coleman has. He gets up, they go to Big B Coffee in Ionia, which is on the way to the school, and he drops her off at school usually 10 minutes early. It's not stressful, and she doesn't have to deal with the glances of her classmates or the disappointed looks of her teacher by walking in late. It shouldn't happen at all. There are a few times when it's going to happen to every child, but 23 times in a school year is too many, and certainly over 60 is too many. Tyler has filed this motion because he just wants the school nights, the night before school, so that we don't have to deal with this. I mean, we've got an obvious solution here, and that's to change the parenting time schedule so that Savannah can be in school on time. That affects her grades, it affects her social networks with other children, it affects her self-esteem. These are things that every parent wants for a child, including Savannah, and these are things that we give her if we just change the schedule. The other concerns, I wrote 9 of them in my brief. I could have written more, but I highlighted these 9 factors. Tyler has been to Ms. Wright's house, and he's seen animal feces all over the house. The house is just not clean. It's filled with trash. There were animal feces on Savannah's blanket. So an unclean, messy, unsafe, unsanitary house is a problem. Then there's the obvious ones: food, water, electricity, heat. These are things every child needs. If a parent's going to have 50-50 custody, then that parent needs to provide that child with food, water, electricity, and heat. And multiple times in this past year, since July of 2023, when the motion was filed, Holly Wright's been unable to provide those things for Savannah. She's been able to have food in the pantry. She's been able to have electricity in the house or gas heat, natural gas heat. She has had to, on multiple occasions, move to a hotel, taking Charity to go to the hotel. There's 2 different hotels, multiple times. One time was over a month they spent in a hotel because those basic needs were not met. Any parent that wants to have 50-50 custody, you would think would get those basic needs taken care of, and Holly Wright did not do that. There are other strange behaviors that have been observed by Holly Wright. One of our witnesses is going to testify to a time when Holly was at a skating party at a skating rink in Ionia and spent most of the time in the car, could not carry on a sentence with the witness that talked to her, and then fell asleep in the car for over an hour in the parking lot of the skating rink rather than engaging in time with her daughter. She can explain the circumstances for that. Perhaps she was very tired. These kinds of behaviors are a concern. And again, if you're trying to impress a court, that when you know that that decision day is coming on a custody case, these are not the kinds of things that you want to let behind or not take care of. She's been observed to be tweaking in public. That's a term people use when they describe someone who's in a withdrawal from drugs or is on drugs and unable to control those involuntary muscle spasms. She's forfeited parenting time. She's missed court dates. Here today, we're at court, finally, for an evidentiary hearing that Tyler has wanted for over a year, and she still doesn't have an attorney. And even though she could communicate with my office or communicate with Tyler, she tells the court before this hearing that she didn't realize her attorney wasn't going to appear until Tyler told her that we haven't received anything from the attorney.
Right.
This is a concern. This is something that if she's responsible for her child, she needs to get these basic things covered. And it might explain why 23 tardies and absences in the current school year, it's 60 plus before. These are a concern. These are something that can be taken care of. Most parents would try and avoid a hearing like this where these obvious flaws are pointed out, but they just continue. And I say they continue, not because I'm disappointed in Holly Wright or that I have an opinion of her as a person, only to say, what does this mean for Savannah going forward? Do we expect that these things are going to get straightened out in the future? Or wouldn't we logically expect that they're going to continue unless we make a change to it? One other thing I wrote in my brief was that she has criminals living in her house. People have witnessed criminals coming in and out of the house at weird hours of the night, and Savannah does not feel safe in Holly Wright's home. How could she feel safe in Holly Wright's home? Some of these have face tattoos. Some of these have felony records. She's dating a man who doesn't have a driver's license and continues to drive without a license and drive Savannah. I don't know, and I'll ask her later, but I don't know whether Holly Wright is allowed to drive if she has a valid driver's license. But somehow they're able to drive Savannah around, and there have been witnesses who have seen Matthew Preston, the boyfriend, driving, and there's evidence that they've been in the car in other towns. Somehow they got there, and Savannah was with them. So this is a concern. We've got people coming into the house who have criminal records, and the boyfriend who's not able to drive but somehow ignores the law and is able to take Savannah and Holly to places. In last December, 2023, Savannah was bit. 2022, she was bitten. Thank you. 2022, bitten and severely injured, hospitalized by a pit bull that was in the house named Karma. And wouldn't be such a concern about Holly Wright's parenting, except this very pit bull had been involved in an attack of another dog 2 months earlier in October of 2022. Holly Wright knew about that. And the police wrote a report, and they got a statement from Holly Wright that she was aware of that earlier attack and allowed that pit bull to be in her house where the pit bull attacked Savannah and put her in the hospital. Karma was the dog who was the pit bull that was put down after that attack on Savannah. Now there's another pit bull in the house. So it's an unsafe house. It's a house where Savannah can't feel safe. A 10-year-old child doesn't make these decisions. You would expect that the adult who's responsible for her would make provisions to provide a house that's safe, that's clean, and having a pit bull in the house or a pit bull mix is not safe. And we know this because we have a track record. What do we expect is going to happen in the future if this doesn't change? And then in 2022, Ms. Wright was found naked in her living room, unconscious by Savannah. She had to go to the hospital. She claims that drugs were not involved. We believe that drugs were involved. We believe we have evidence that drugs were involved. And if she will not admit that drugs are involved or wants to hide behind the doctor-patient privilege, then she wouldn't be able to explain that unconscious nakedness in the living room any other way. If you passed out in your own home, that's one thing. I'm sure that happens not frequently, but that does happen to good parents. In this case, you had a parent who passed out naked in the living room. We don't know how she ended up in that position. We only know that she was found by Savannah, who was very scared, traumatized by that. Lastly, if you compare the two homes and you look at Tyler's home, he's single. He doesn't have a girlfriend right now. He doesn't have any other adults living in his home who are bad influences. He has his mother. He lived with his mother. His mother has a good relationship with Savannah. It's grandma-granddaughter relationship. Tyler is very responsible. He co-owns a business, and he is not. He's able to provide a home that's safe for. So when we look at custody, we're looking at the 12. Sorry, for Savannah. When we look at the 12 best interest factors, and we can go down the list, I think every parent usually has love and affection for the child. Factor A.
I was going to say, don't go through the 12 factors in an opening statement. Prove those 12 factors to me. This isn't testimony. I mean, you're giving me an outline, but let's not divulge the whole case. I'd like to get to some actual testimony sometime this morning.
I trust that you're going to find that those 12 best interest factors clearly and convincingly favor a change of custody and a change of parenting time along the lines of what the friend of the court recommended. And that was every other weekend with Holly Wright. No overnights on the weekend. Those would be 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday and Sunday every other weekend. And we would ask that the court follow that recommendation.
And I believe that's what you stated in your brief. All right, Ms. Wright, do you have an opening statement?
I guess, is this to, what is the opening statement?
What is an opening statement, as I told you in February, so just to refresh your memory, is an outline of what you're going to prove to me. It's not evidence, it's just an outline of where we're going. Okay. So what is it you believe you're going to be able to prove to the court?
So I'm going to be able to prove that all these things that Mr. Chadwick just said are actually, it's contrary to what he just stated. I have a paper from the school that shows the absences or tardies are actually not as many on mine as they are shared. Specifically in the past 6 weeks, Tyler's kept her home from school absent 3 different times for no reason at all, which I can prove that. As well as I can prove that Tyler hasn't even been in my house to say that all these statements about my house, as well as the lack of food, water, electric, heat, all of that. Our electric was off 2 years ago for a little bit, and that was the electric company's fault. It was off for 2 weeks, and I have the statement from the electric company. I also have things from the 2 local hotels that will prove that there was we've never stayed over a month at a hotel. In fact, the couple nights we did stay, it was paid for because it was the electric company's fault. On top of that, sorry, I'm trying to look at what I was writing down. The skating party thing, I'm not exactly sure who that witness is or what they're saying, but Vanna's only been to 2 skate nights, one of which she stayed for 5 minutes because she didn't know how to skate. The other one, I came out to the car for 10 minutes to check on my dog and was back in there within those 10 minutes. As far as proving any tweaking, or I guess I'm not sure. Hang on, my phone just started playing music. I don't know what.
We can't hear the music, so.
Okay, nope, I just was able to shut it off. It says I can prove that there's not criminals in and out of my house, as well as Mr. Chadwick said that Vanna does not feel safe here. I have her journal, which says that otherwise. It's questioned whether I or my boyfriend have a driver's license, and currently we both do have driver's license, so I can prove that. I can also prove that the dog bite that happened, it wasn't a hospitalization, it was an ER visit, which I called 911. I got that dog right out of here. It was a friend's dog, so I'm not sure what other pit bull they're referring to. If it's my stepdaughter's dog, that my stepdaughter's in town right now and has her dog here. which is a little teeny tiny dog, but I can prove that hospitalization was actually just an ER visit. And I can also prove, this is why I get frustrated with the attorneys, in the 2022 hospitalization of mine that they're referring to. They said there's no other way to explain my unconsciousness except there is. Tyler and I have known each other for a long time, and he knows that I'm a diabetic. And that whole stay in the hospital was a diabetic ketoacidosis incident, which I'll be able to, I have all the documentation to prove that, as well as, what does he say? It's saying that my house is unsafe for her to be in. Actually, recently, Tyler's house just had a fire, which was something that could have been prevented. And that just goes to show that as far as safety, I mean, luckily they made it out. Luckily, you know, the 7 minutes that it would typically take for a trailer to be fully engulfed in flames, you know, it didn't exceed that. So hopefully they get that taken care of to the point where there won't be a fire. I mean, Tyler will say himself that he is anxious and worried and all those things about another fire happening. Even Savannah, she's, you know, afraid that that's going to happen again. But things like that have not happened here at our house. She still doesn't have a bed that's cleaned off at his house where they're sleeping in the same bed. You know, our daughter's going through puberty and all that stuff, and she is still forced to sleep in the same bed as her dad, even though she's uncomfortable doing so. You know, as far as best interest factors, I'll be able to prove that out of all the best interest factors, it's either equally shared between the two of us, or that it would still be in her best interest for me. I would say, even on record, you know, I've had reached out to Tyler, and I know this whole court thing, we've been pretty amicable together over the past few weeks, and to be jerks to each other, and he, you know, he's trying to show things that are clearly not true, which I can prove. You know, this 50-50 physical custody, I would be okay with that. I even threw that out there, said we can meet at his attorney's house, or I'm sorry, not house, attorney's office, or at Tyler's house, and figure out something so that we don't have to drag each other through the dirt while, you know, the fact that we're being friendly, even yesterday, you know, going to Vanna's graduation and then being able to interact in a positive way has made such a positive impact to Savannah. So I would be okay with changing it to 50-50 physical custody and tweaking the parenting time to 4 days and 3 days a week during our 2-week rotation.
Okay. Mr. Chadwick, if you care to call your first witness, sir.
Yes, I have a procedural question first. There was
Certainly.
a report that was prepared by the friend of the court investigation summary under MCL 552.5051G.
Correct.
And I believe that falls outside of the rules of evidence under MRE 1101.
It does, but it was my understanding we began this with the front of the court supervisor having contacted me because the front of the court worker that you subpoenaed could not be here because she's on an airline flight. So I'm assuming you're going to call the worker at some point, correct, Mr. Chadwick?
I was planning on it. I think I sent her a subpoena. She called politely to say she couldn't be here for the hearing today. I think we can just submit the report. That'd be my question.
You can under that rule of evidence. So, but if you would like, you know, you can always call the front of the court as a witness as well. Ms. Wright, you may call the front of the court as a witness. That way you may cross-examine them about the evidence that you say that you were not able to get to them.
Very good.
Okay, and something that the evidence that they've submitted, I've never seen any of that. Is that something that I should have seen, or
Mr. Chadwick, did you send Miss Wright all of the proposed exhibits? I have an 1.5 inch stack of papers here that I haven't.
Yeah, she was copied a week and a half ago. I was on vacation, but they got sent out.
There should have been a packet given to you that was dated May 23rd.
Yeah.
I only have the list of the things, but not the actual evidence pieces. It just says a list. It just says who their witnesses are.
Right. So you have that. You have the 6-page trial brief.
But nothing that includes the actual evidence pieces that they have.
So you don't have the almost 2-inch thick pictures and looks like police reports, or no. I'm just thumbing through it because I don't look at it until it's entered into evidence.
Yeah, I don't have any of that. All I have is it was 3 pages. It might have been 4 pages of just I guess is what you guys called it, was the brief that just says who's going to be a witness, and it says there's Tyler's going to submit several pictures, but there's nothing. The pictures are not included.
Mr. Chadwick, you said you were on vacation. Can you check to make sure that she was given this stuff, or in what format?
Yeah, I can bring in my legal secretary to testify to that.
Yeah, because that's unusual, ma'am, because normally the packets are copied and sent out to all of us at the same time.
I just have, it was I can go back, I can go into my office and grab it. It's literally a packet of maybe 6 pages, and it came in my normal mail.
Okay. Miss Wright, my clerk just informed me that you were emailed a copy of it as well.
Emailed a copy? I guess I don't know. As far as email, I told the friend of the court, I've told every different place that I have super low vision, so I have to have someone come in and help me pick through emails and all that. So if it was submitted via email, that's something that I can't roll through without the extra help.
Can you check to see if you received it in that format?
I have to have someone help me. I can have babe. Sorry, my fiance is in another room.
That didn't sound like a small dog.
Oh, I have a Saint Bernard. Tyler's has met my dog.
All right. Well, we'll proceed, and as those issues come up, we'll double check them.
I need you to flip through my email and see, because the court says they emailed. You know how I got that paper that said Tyler's witnesses? Oh, apparently they emailed it as well with the actual evidence. So I need you to hop in my email and see
Yeah, I have the proof of service. It's on the last page of the document entitled Plaintiff's Witness and Exhibit List. There's no way you can do that, but on the very last page, it should be in the court file.
It is. I mean, it does say that the undersigned certifies that a copy of the foregoing document was served upon the attorneys of record in all parties. Yes. And the court in the front of the court. The problem is that the document it alludes to is the 6 pages. She's saying she didn't get any of the exhibits. Doesn't necessarily say it contained the exhibits as well. That would be normal procedure, I would tell you, Miss Wright, that the normal procedure would be. But you're saying you did not receive the police reports or the pictures or anything?
No, that's exactly what I'm saying.
It's amazing how all this stuff that you haven't been able to give over, and the stuff that was sent to you, you've never received.
I can if I am given instructions, get all this stuff over. I have a Google Drive full of stuff. I can send it right now as we speak, and it'll show that the day I shared it with my attorney.
All right. Well, we're going to proceed with witnesses. So we've dealt with the front of the court report, which I know everybody received, and the court will review that pursuant to the rules of evidence. And then if either party cares to call the witness, we can further review that and have it cross-examined upon. But as it's only being entered by the rules of evidence, the court will weigh it appropriately and just utilize it for some informational purposes, but we'll give it the weight that's appropriate to it since we don't have testimony yet on it. Mr. Chadwick, if you care to call your first witness.
Yes, Mitch Mercer.
Mr. Mercer, let's bring him in. Is he in the waiting rooms? Ms. LeVay.
How are you employed, Mr. Mercer?
I work for Iowa Public Schools as the McGinney-Vento liaison, the foster care liaison, and truancy officer. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And in the course of your employment, have you come across the name of Savannah?
Correct.
Can you tell us Savannah's attendance at Ionia Public Schools?
Say that again?
Can you tell us Savannah's attendance at Ionia Public Schools?
I can't.
Can you hear us? I guess maybe
Yeah, I
the more
apologize.
pertinent question. That's okay.
You know,
We can hear you quite fine.
Did you say, can I tell you about her attendance?
Yes.
Okay. What would you like to know as far as?
Let's start out with the exhibit. It's exhibit 14 in our list. Did you receive a copy of exhibit 14?
Yes.
All right. And we have an issue whether or not the defendant received that exhibit, but let's discuss exhibit 14 so we can get that conditionally admitted.
Okay.
All right. And Mr. Metz, do you have?
I'm trying to find it because they're not tabbed or anything, so I'm flipping through to find exhibit 14.
This is our most colorful exhibit.
Oh, okay. Is it the one with the pink and the yellow highlights?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
That made it easier to find.
good. Good. Mr.
Well,
Mercer.
I believe this is something that would have been sent to the parties by the school itself at some point, correct?
It'd have to be generated because it ends with the date of, well, can you tell us the last date on the exhibit 14?
Mr. Chadwick, I was going to say, please sit down because, standing up may work in court, but then we only see your tie.
Right.
All right. So, but we have somebody here to testify as to this exhibit. So, and it's more of a demonstrative exhibit as compared to what the testimony will indicate. So please proceed.
Is this an exhibit you could recognize as one you would generate in the ordinary course of business in your employment at Ionia Public Schools?
Correct.
All right. And disregarding the coloration of the exhibit and the handwritten notes on the exhibit, is this a record that could have been generated by Ionia Public Schools to record the attendance and tardies?
Correct.
All right. I move for the admission of exhibit 14.
Miss Wright?
Yes.
Any objection to this? It's going to be
I guess
testified to. So
I guess
You
I
guess-
don't know what. Sorry, I'm
again, I find it interesting that the witnesses would have
Mhm.
received this and everybody received it but you. Something just is a
I
little
don't-
fishy of this. But at this point, this is demonstrative. He's going to go through the dates. So this is just a
with
visual.
absences or
Yeah, these
from
are
what
these
year?
are the absences of 2020. It says 2023 through 2024.
okay. I guess that's the.
They are what they are. I mean, this is
Yeah, I don't
compiled by the school. So
Yeah, I don't object to that. I have something similar that, yeah.
okay, then we will proceed with testimony on this exhibit. It'll be entered as exhibit number 1.
Thank you. All right. According to this, Mr. Mercer, help us understand this. On February 28th of this year, 2024, that's the first entry that you see on the exhibit?
Correct.
All right. What does that record tell us about the attendance of Savannah that date?
That date it says excused. LA would be late. Must have been an excused tardy or absence.
All right. The entry after that, February 22, 2024, what can you tell us about that date?
That would be excused medical.
Okay. Does it say whether it's an absence or a tardy?
What?
Can you indicate whether that entry indicates an absence or a tardy?
It's an absence.
All right.
Half day.
Okay. And then the entry after that, February 15, 2024.
That is weather, excused weather. Parents can call in if there's a weather issue.
All right. And then the fourth entry, February 6, 2024.
Tardy excused,
Is that excused or unexcused?
unexcused.
All right. And prior to that, January 30, 2024.
Same thing. Tardy unexcused.
All right. Now, because this document was admitted, the trier of fact, the referee today, can review the document. I just want to clarify what the initials are for, what the codes are for. So do you see there's a yellow line 112723?
Correct.
What does the T-TE stand for?
Tardy excused.
Excused, okay. And one line above that, 112823. What is do you see that line?
Yes.
What is
Wait. Yes, I see it.
What does the E-IL stand for?
Excused ill.
Okay. And two lines down, 112123. You see that line?
Excused late.
Okay. I think we've covered them all. Let's go down to 92623.
9. Got it.
All right. The code there is E-LA. What does that mean?
Excuse late.
Okay. One line below that, L-L. What does that stand for?
That one is a different one to me. I would assume it means late. And the L, what they try and do to, this information goes into our computers to determine if it goes towards the truancy letters that are sent that we use. L is telling the computer that there was a reason given, like a doctor's note or something like that, so it doesn't count. I think there's another down at the bottom, 3923. You see that one?
I do.
The L in front of it meant that there was like a doctor's note, or if the child went home sick, they know it was confirmed an illness.
Okay. And at the top of the chart, the codes at the top, they're written in bold, and the first one is ENT. Do you see those in that line there?
Where's this?
At the very top of the first page, there's some code written in bold above each column.
CMT, NT?
First one says ENT.
I'm confused here.
Okay.
It says ENT.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you said C. I believe that's the code for the school, Jefferson.
Okay. The year tells us the year.
Yep.
The ATND date tells us the date that the
Yep.
event took place. I don't see anything submitted under the column NBR,
Correct.
so I'll skip that one. CMNT, what does that stand for?
I believe that's a comment.
And it seems like in that column there are Y's and N's. What are those for?
Yes and no, I would assume.
Okay. And P-N, you know what that stands for?
Parent note. Maybe.
Okay.
Not sure on that one.
Now the next column has hyphen, 2 zeros, hyphen, and it doesn't look like there's any entries in that column. You know what the last two columns represent?
AM and PM.
Okay. The two halves of the school day?
Correct.
Okay. I don't know that there are any other. Well, if you go way down to the yellow entry line of 101322, 101322.
22?
Yes.
Yes.
There's a code for U-AU. What does that stand for?
Unexcused. Absence unexcused, I guess.
Okay.
They didn't get any notification, maybe. Usually if a parent calls in and gives a reason, they will put excused.
Now, you told us your title, but are you the truancy officer for Iona Public Schools?
Correct.
Was Savannah truant at any time during the current school year, 2023, 2024?
As far as with absences, I'd have to count up. She would have been absent. It goes by 5, 10, 15, 20 to 25, and she didn't meet the threshold for truancy. However, the tardies were excessive.
All right. When a student meets the threshold for truancies, what do you do?
I call, it depends on the age, 12 and under, the law enforcement is notified and they get involved and they send information to the prosecutor.
What is the number for 12 and under?
Yes. I'm not sure of her age right now.
She's 10.
Yep.
If she were 10, what would the number be?
What do you mean?
What would be the number of absences
20.
that would trigger you to call law enforcement for truancy?
20 to 25.
Okay. And the tardies are not included in that number. Is that correct?
The what?
The tardies.
No,
Okay.
as far as the tardies. They get notified, like I say, with a 5 and a 10, 15, 20, 25.
All right. I have no more questions, but hang on with us. There might be some questions for you by the next people.
Okay.
All right. Ms. Wright, do you have any questions of this witness? You may cross-examine.
So I do. I know when Mr. Chadwick had asked clarification on some of the abbreviations, it said, your response is that you guess or you assume what it means. Do you assume or do you just guess on any of the other ones that you seem to have known exactly what they meant? Or you're confident on those other things?
I guess I'm not following what you're saying.
So on one of the lines, Mr. Chadwick had asked you what an abbreviation meant.
It was an LL, I think.
There was a couple of them. There was
Okay.
a couple of them that I got. And you said you assume the meaning of it. Or another one, you said you guess. You guess it means this. So I'm just wondering, you were 100% confident on the other definitions being what you said they were?
Yes.
Okay. And then as far as AM and PM, if someone is absent the whole day, will it come up? Will it be counted as 2 absences, seeing how there's an AM and PM?
No, 1.
Right? Okay. And she didn't meet the criteria to be truant. What would it be? How many tardies would she have had to be truant? Because I know myself, I didn't get anything from, as you say, they would have been passed to law enforcement, to the prosecutor. How many tardies would she had to have?
They are generated. The letters are generated from absences.
Okay, so not. Okay. And then as far as being unexcused, how would it be registered as unexcused? What would that consist of? If I call up there and say she's not coming in because she's whatever reason I give, what makes it unexcused?
Well, if we don't get any information or that is determined by the school, as far as mainly if the parent doesn't call in.
But it could be that, the parent does call in and it's just what the school thinks. They get to determine whether it is excused or unexcused. Even if the parent calls, it gives a reasoning why they're a tardy.
Correct.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your.
I said correct.
Okay. All right. That's all the questions I have.
All right, so Mr. Mercer, I only have one question for you. In the review of these years, because I've got 23, 24, I also have 22 and parts of 21. Was Savannah ever sent a truancy letter in any year that she's attended school?
Yes, I believe it was 22, 23. It added up to, I know it was a 5 and a 10-day letter.
Okay, so there was a truancy letter sent, and you sent them to which parent?
I believe it was her mother.
Okay, so you did not send the letter to both parents?
I never got one.
Right.
That's okay. All right, so it would have been sent to the parent that you believe would have been the cause.
Correct.
Okay, that's the only question I had. Mr. Chadwick, any other questions?
No further questions. I asked her to release the witness from the subpoena.
Okay, Mr. Wright, unless she has any other question.
Yeah, so you just said that they would send the letter to the parent they believe is the cause. How would they determine which parent would be the cause? I mean, without having the parenting time schedule in front of them, how do they determine that?
Legitimate question, Mr.
Can
Mercer.
I correct that, sir?
Sure.
It's generally the guardian. I have to be honest, I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay, because it would be odd with both parties having dropped off the child. I'd assume that maybe you were debate. My assumption was that you were basing that on who had to call to say, "Hey, they're late," because normally somebody's got to check the child in.
Yeah, and
so
that's difficult.
That would have,
I think.
Well, not perfect, but generally somebody has to check them in and say why they're late if they're late.
Okay.
So, but okay, I will note that, Ms. Mercer or Ms. Wright. I kind of expected that would be the next question. All right. In this case, Mr. Mercer, thank you for your testimony. You are excused and released as a witness in this case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good morning. Thank you for being here. It's hard to get school officials in some days, but easier by Zoom.
Thank you.
I'm covering the middle school right now, and it's
good luck.
Yeah.
Take care. All righty. Mr. Chadwick, your next witness.
All right, is there a Heidi Saigan in the waiting room?
Ms. LeVay?
No, there is not.
All right, Megan Jansen,
Yes, there is.
how are you employed?
I am employed with the state of Michigan.
What's your assignment there?
I work in the Department of Corrections as a psychologist.
All right, do you know Tyler Coleman or Savannah Coleman?
Yes, I do know both.
How do you know them?
I know them through my significant other that has been friends with Tyler for much of their life.
Have you seen Tyler and Savannah interact with each other?
Yes, many times.
And what have you noticed about that interaction or those interactions?
Sure. Of note is Tyler spends a great deal of time with Savannah when Savannah is in his care. Sometimes they would come over to our home. We would go out in the community. I know that Tyler has invited us to numerous choir concerts that Savannah has been a part of, and I have attended a couple of those. He is very committed to Savannah. Actually, when they did have the house fire, Tyler and Savannah, when he had her during his time through the court, they stayed in our home until their home was fixed. And that was after a hotel stay. And during that time, when he would pick Savannah up from school and bring her back to our home, it was how was school, what went on, what took place. Also, what homework do we have? What do we need to sit down and work on? He's very involved, checking in on her, how she is doing, how her day was. I think of important note is that he also takes great care of her and her daily needs. Obviously, being 10, she can't provide for herself. And so he provides a home, he provides food, he provides clothing. Of note is importance of that it's clothes that fit her, that are true to her size. I think that is a note of importance, especially in custody cases. And Tyler, even when Savannah isn't around, Tyler talks about Vanna, how proud he is to be her dad and father, how proud he is of all that she has overcome in life and that she continues to persist and do well.
During the time that the two of them lived with you, did Savannah seem comfortable with her father or scared of her father?
I did not notice anything that would lead me to believe that she was scared of her father. I've never seen her seem timid around him. They will hug. Savannah will hug me, hello and goodbye. And I don't recall that they slept in the same bed. They were in our basement and they had separate sleeping quarters down there. I think that's important note based on what opening statements. Savannah talks about her dad and the fun things that they've done. Savannah seems comfortable around myself and my significant other. I think that's an important note. She converses, she asks questions. If she needs something and she doesn't know where to find it, she asks. She has the open opportunity for the refrigerator, the pantry, things that if she's hungry, if she needs help with something, she can ask for help, but she can also get some things on her own.
Savannah have school some of the nights you're with her? Would she have had school the following day?
Yes, sir. To my knowledge, based on what was discussed and what time they needed to be up and leave to get her to school on time, while with also stopping or making sure she had breakfast and the necessities.
Were you able to observe the morning routine or were you gone at that point?
So I was able to see some of that. They had not left the home prior to me. I was up getting around for work and Savannah and Tyler were up in the morning. Savannah actually came upstairs to say good morning to me and that she hoped I had a great day. I said the same thing to her. She was looking forward to going with her dad to Big B before being dropped off at school. And also with that, we reside in Saranac, so going to Ionia Public School, she would have to get up a little bit earlier. And she was up, and her dad made sure she was up, and she was getting around for school.
Your house to Big B Coffee is how long of a drive?
I would say, you're going to the Big B in Ionia, obviously off 66, right, in the strip center. So I would say probably every bit of 20 minutes with traffic and speed limits and everything.
Big B Coffee to Jefferson Elementary School is how long of a drive?
Given school traffic, everything, probably an additional 10 minutes, I would say at least, if not longer.
Did you observe whether they left in plenty of time to get to Big B Coffee and the school, time for school?
To be honest with you, I had already left for work before they had left. So to my knowledge, I do not know, but I know that they were up and getting around, and that was prior to 6:30 a.m.
Very good. I have no further questions. Thank you. But hang on, a few more questions.
Yeah, no problem, Ms. Jansen. The defendant now gets to cross-examine. Ms. Wright, you may cross-examine this witness.
Good morning, Megan.
Good morning, Holly.
Hi. So with I hate to do this, but last year at some point, I mean, I know you have a lot of great things to say about Savannah and Tyler's interaction. But I guess, did you ever attend, or maybe it was at your house, a party with adults where Vanna and there was another child there, where you guys might have been talking or speaking about inappropriate subjects in front of the kids?
I do not recall.
Okay, so I have part of, and this is where I don't know how to submit, or once I can get that in there, I have a video of Vanna had taken from her phone, and it is a recording of yourself, another
Mr.
female.
Hold on. Well, I'm going to let her give a proffer of what she thinks she has. So that's what I'm going to consider this as a proffer. What is it you believe you have?
A video from Savannah's cell phone where
Savannah is 10,
witness,
correct?
Yes, it's a cell phone that yes, she's 10.
Okay. And what does this allegedly contain?
And it contains a conversation. It's actually Vanna and another child playing, and it's mostly of them playing, but in the background you can clearly hear the conversation between Megan, Tyler, there's another adult female named Megan, and I believe the last person is Josh. They're playing games and talking about taking shots via their colon. I don't know how else to put it that would be appropriate.
To take shots based on their what?
Like shots of alcohol their butt chugging is the term they use, alcohol.
So they're basically playing a game where they're doing shots.
They're talking, the conversation is about that as they're playing whatever board game they're playing. And I guess the pertinence of that is that the idea that kind of conversation being had in front of a 9-year-old at that point, it wasn't in front of
a 9-year-old. The 9-year-olds were playing. You could just hear it in the background, correct?
No, you can.
That's your description.
At the end of the video, one of the children says, "I don't think you guys should be talking about that in front of us."
Drinking?
It's within earshot of the children.
Talking about drinking.
Talking about, and also having Tyler and his friend joking about getting tattoos on their privates.
Okay.
But they're definitely talking about butt chugging is the term that they use, different alcohol, and the appropriateness of that conversation, or even that setting for a child to be in, without any other adult being there that was not participating in this drinking and conversation.
And again, the children were not participating in that conversation.
But they were hearing it.
Okay, should I bring or haul in everybody from every Thanksgiving and Christmas party?
It wasn't
Like
a
there are all
Thanksgiving.
kinds of adult conversations that occur when children are playing in the next room or within earshot, where parties don't think that they're. But in any event, that's just an offer of whatever. The question, I guess, would lay to the witness, ma'am, do you remember ever having conversations like that with the kids present? And I take it the other child is yours, Miss Jansen?
Our children, I don't have any biological children.
Oh, okay.
Joshua does.
Okay.
And they no longer live in the home. They are 18 and above.
Okay.
19 at this time and above.
Miss Wright, who are you saying that your daughter was playing with?
It was another child around her age.
So probably a child of somebody else at the party.
I'm assuming so.
Okay. All right, Miss Jansen, the question stands. Do you remember anything like that occurring?
I do not remember having a conversation in front of kids that would be inappropriate.
Okay. Next question, Miss Wright.
Could it be that you don't remember that because the mental state after having been intoxicated?
No.
I didn't hear your answer. I'm sorry.
She said no.
No. Okay. All right. So there's at no point has Tyler brought Vanna into your and where the adults were all at all.
Can you repeat that? You broke up, so I only got bits and pieces of what you said.
So has Tyler ever had Savannah in your presence where the adults have been drinking at any time?
Well,
drinking alcohol.
So there are times that they may come over. I've witnessed plenty of times that we've been out with Tyler and he doesn't drink alcohol.
I'm not asking about the times he does not. I'm asking about the times that you have seen him drinking while being in, while having Vanna in his care.
I don't recall specific times when he has had Vanna in his care where we have been drinking.
Okay. Your Honor, is there once I submit my evidence, am I able to call her as a witness?
You may reserve the right to call and rebut her as a witness, yes. Okay. Since you do not have the evidence into play.
Yeah,
I'll allow you to reserve that.
If there's evidence, let's talk about it. I don't know. I don't recall based on my memory that.
Because you can rebut this evidence when you're calling witnesses. Since she was a witness called by them, you may recall her to rebut if you find something new. Sometimes things come up in a courtroom and you have to go find the evidence. You allegedly have the evidence, you just have not been able to submit it after several months. So that can be reserved for you. And this attorney that you're talking with may be told that.
Okay.
Any other questions of this witness?
Have you ever been in the presence of myself and Vanna and seen any inappropriate behaviors from myself?
The times that I've encountered you and Vanna is never just you two. There's always numerous people around. So I've never just witnessed you and Vanna and had a personal conversation or been a part of that conversation.
But have you noticed, any sort of odd behaviors by myself when you have been in those situations?
I don't think my encounters with you, Holly, have been long enough to know whether something was appropriate or not.
Okay, I guess it just goes back to like people saying that.
So in other words, she's never seen you be inappropriate, essentially.
Okay. All right.
No offense, I'm just trying to move this along.
No, that's fine.
No, I appreciate that. I don't know. I've never had to do this before, so all right, no other questions, but I would ask that.
Right. Mr. Chadwick, anything? All right, Mr. Chadwick, anything further of this witness?
I have no further questions, and I would ask that Ms. Jansen be excused from her subpoena.
And Ms. Jansen, you are hereby excused and released as a witness in this case. So have a good morning. Thank you for being here.
So I can still call her back even though she's being excused?
That would be, you would have to subpoena her and get her back if you have submitted the evidence appropriately. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that is as a rebuttal witness. Okay, Mr. Chadwick, any other further witnesses?
I have other witnesses. It is almost 10:30. I'd ask that we take a 5-minute break.
Right.
Do you know Tyler and Savannah?
Yes.
How do you know those two?
I met Tyler after I met Megan Jansen and Joshua Rinke, which I worked with both of them when I worked at we all worked at the prisons in Ionia. And then I subsequently met Tyler because he's good friends with Joshua. So mutual friends, I suppose.
And how is Tyler's job as a dad to Savannah?
From what I've witnessed, I think that Tyler does a really good job as a dad to Savannah.
All right. Does he spend a lot of time with her? Does he seem to like spending time with her? What's your opinion?
He does. For instance, if there's maybe, a gathering of our friends at, say, the Rinkies, if we're playing cards or getting together or having food, or it's like a Michigan State game or whatever, if it is the weekend that, Tyler has Savannah, if it's an appropriate setting to bring her, he brings her. Like, he doesn't find a babysitter. He brings Savannah wherever he goes, basically. I see them often, like, around town. Like, I've run into Savannah and Tyler at Myers several times. Like, he takes her everywhere with him. So.
All right. Have you ever met Holly Wright, Savannah's mother?
No, I have not.
Do you have any concerns about Tyler having full physical custody of Savannah? Would that be Savannah's best interest? Do you see any downsides to that?
I don't see any downside to it. I think she would be well cared for.
All right. I have no further questions.
Any
Okay.
cross-examine of this witness, Ms. Wright?
Yes. Yes. So seeing how you and I have not met, you feel like you can honestly make an opinion about whether or not you have any concern of her being 100% in Tyler's care and him having full custody. Like, you feel like you can confidently make that statement even after not meeting myself.
Well,
And
my
knowing
statement.
what happens on the other end.
Sorry, my statement isn't making a judgment about you because I've never met you. I'm just saying I wouldn't have any concerns about him having her more than he already does. Based off of what I've seen, I don't think that it would be a negative thing. I think she would be cared for.
So, you spoke about the gathering of friends at the Rinkies. I'm assuming it was the Rinkies' house. One of those parties, we just spoke about this with a previous witness. There was 2 females named Megan, and I don't know if it's right to assume that you were one of them, where there's a video of some inappropriate conversation in front of Savannah. Do you recall that?
I don't know what you're speaking about, no.
So there's it seems to be like a card game or a game night with
Pardon the
2
interruption.
different Megans.
We are going to try.
I'm sorry.
For lunch today.
I work at a school and they just came on over the announcements. I apologize.
Understood. We'll
It's
wait a
okay.
moment for the announcement to
Okay.
one of the other benefits and detractions of Zoom. But the
Sorry,
other
I didn't know that was going to happen. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's no
Go
fault
ahead.
of yours. We have to deal with that, and it's better than you having to sit in the courthouse for 3 hours waiting to be called.
Yeah.
All righty. Please proceed with your answer, ma'am.
So just my question was just, do you remember being at that gathering where there was alcohol involved? The adults were all drinking, and there was conversation about, I'm going to use the same term that was used in the video that I have, butt chugging alcohol. Do you recall that?
I don't know. I would have to know the day. I don't remember any video being taken or any inappropriate. I don't know.
Any of the gatherings that that had happened, whether it's at the Rinkies or any other location where you've seen Savannah in Tyler's care, has there been adult activities as far as like alcohol or anything like that that Savannah would have witnessed to?
I believe that when there was a gathering for Michigan State game. I believe, yes, that there was people drinking. I can't recall whether Tyler was or not. but I know at least the one time that I'm thinking of, my daughter was also with me. So, I mean, there's kids around. It's not a crime to drink in front of your children. So I don't recall any inappropriate behavior happening, other than just people gathering, watching a game and eating whatever. So.
And during that specific time, was there an adult that was not drinking present?
Was there what?
Was there any adults that were not drinking?
Oh, there were several. Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'd like to, I'd like to reserve the right to bring her back as a rebuttal witness,
If
I guess.
I will reserve that right if you find the way to do what you state that you offered to do last time. Yes. You would have to subpoena her.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
That's perfect.
And then I guess this witness may be excused, Mr. Chadwick.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Ma'am, you may go back to school.
Okay. Thank you.
You are released as a witness. Take care.
Okay. Thank you too.
Or that you can stay in the room and pretend like you're still in court and take an extra break for a half hour.
May I inquire if there are any other people on Zoom waiting to testify? I've got a witness list, but I don't know who's available.
Right. Who's yeah. And I don't either. So Miss LeVay, who do we have in the waiting room?
Yes, I just have Amanda Oakley in the waiting room.
All right. I would call Amanda Oakley next.
Okay. All of a sudden I felt like a game show host as I was asking those questions. All righty. Bring in Miss Oakley.
Who do you have next?
Tyler is my husband's best friend. I've known him for 7 years, and I've known Savannah for probably 6 years.
Very good. And you know Savannah's mom, Holly Wright?
I do not.
Okay.
I've met her once for maybe a couple minutes. We ran into her at a birthday party, so I don't really know her.
Can you describe Tyler as a dad?
Are you asking how I describe Tyler as a dad? He is a good dad. He's always trying to do things to make Vanna happy. She loves being around him. They always are smiling when they're together. Tyler's a good dad, a hardworking dad, and will do anything to make sure Vanna has a good life.
Does she seem scared around him?
Scared?
Right.
No, not at all.
How does Savannah behave during these interactions that you've observed with her dad?
Oh, she's always smiling, laughing. They're always, playing together, doing whatever. She's always laughing when she's with him.
All right. I have no further questions, but hang on, maybe more questions.
All righty. Hold on, Miss Oakley. Miss Wright has the right to cross-examine you. So, Miss Wright, is there any questions of this witness?
I guess not. I don't.
Okay. Well, and sometimes the witnesses are all they're here to do is to say that the person that they've observed is a good parent. Sometimes that's part of the necessity of kind of going through this. So sometimes it's short, thank gosh. So thank you, Miss Oakley, for being present. You are excused as a witness then. Your next witness, Mr. Chadwick.
I call Holly Wright as a witness. She's my witness, but I believe with our court rules, I'm allowed to ask leading questions.
You are allowed to question her as a hostile witness, and that just means that he's allowed to ask you leading questions, Miss Wright. Yes, ma'am?
Should I have gotten a subpoena or something for that then?
No, you're a party. You may be called as a witness.
Sure.
So, all righty. So, Miss Wright, please raise your right hand.
Is it true you are not working right now?
That's correct. I'm not working because I'm still waiting on my disability claim for medical disability.
Is it true you've not worked at all in 2024?
That is incorrect.
When were you last employed?
I don't know the exact date that I could not work. I can get that to you though.
It was in 2024?
Correct.
You don't recall the date from the first 6 months of the year?
I don't. If you want a specific date, I would have to look back at my emails between me and my boss to give you the exact date.
You remember the month?
It was sometime in January.
What was that job? in January of 2024?
So it was working as a contractor through cardio diagnostics. I do, it's a medical type of job where I work remotely from home, and I read heart rhythms and heart rates for people using.
Name of the business, something diagnostics, what was that?
Yep. Cardio diagnostics.
Say again?
Cardio diagnostics.
Cardio, CARDIO.
Yep. And then diagnostics.
How long were you employed with cardio diagnostics?
On and off for a year and a half.
On and off means there were some projects that you took on as a contractor. Other times you had no projects.
Correct. It started off as doing like a set schedule, and then as time went on and as my condition with my eyes got worse, it went from, Monday through Friday, 12 hours a day. And then, they accommodated to, like a per job kind of assignment. And then,
did you file taxes in 2024 covering the 2023 tax year?
Yes, I did. And it will show that.
What was your income for 2023?
I'd have to look back at my tax return to give you the exact.
Was it more than $20,000?
More than what? I'm sorry?
More than $20,000?
More than 20? No. Not with just the cardio diagnostics.
Do you have any other employment in 2023 besides cardio diagnostics?
Just, you making things with my Cricut and selling them on like Marketplace, things like that.
Did you make even $1,000 doing that in 2023?
In 2023? Not in 2023, no.
Did you report that income on your tax return for 2023?
I don't believe I had to because it was dollars, nothing significant. Make a t-shirt for someone and I make $10 off it.
So in 2024, you filed a tax return showing income from cardio diagnostics and no other source of income, and the income you showed was less than $20,000.
Correct.
Are you able to work?
I guess it depends on. I guess it's a question that I'm not sure how to answer because the job that I did have, at Spectrum Health for 15 years, like that one I cannot do anymore due to my disability. So I don't know how to answer that. There's not. I mean, one of my doctors say I cannot work. Another one says, if there's a job that I'm able to, they can make accommodations for my on and off vision, that I could work. I guess.
You are not able to do the same contracting job for cardio diagnostics today that you were able to do in January. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
And you are not able to do the Spectrum job that you had for 15 years today, even though you were able to.
That's correct.
When did the Spectrum Health job end?
The Spectrum Health job ended. That was in like 2022. I haven't worked for them for a couple of years now.
You are not now receiving Social Security disability payments?
I'm not yet. It's still pending, which I have. It's one of the evidence things I have that shows that I have a pending case with SSI as well as through Michigan.
Whether you are receiving Social Security disability payments. Yes or no?
Not yet. Nope, not yet.
Have you been approved for Social Security disability payments?
It's still pending. So as of today, not yet.
Okay. Have you applied for any jobs anywhere since January of 2024?
I have.
Where have you applied?
You want the exact list? I can try to pull up my LinkedIn account and give you exactly the different places I've applied to.
Can you recall even one?
I have a resume out at Sparrow Health. So I've put in applications at a couple of different positions that would hopefully be able to make accommodations for my medical issues. I don't know that
Sparrow Health, anything else?
they will. Again, I can pull up my LinkedIn and give you.
Can you recall any other place you've applied for a job since January 2024 besides Sparrow Health?
Gosh, I can't remember specific names. Like I said, if you'd like, I can pull up my LinkedIn account and give you the exact.
Do you want to give her a chance to pull up her LinkedIn account, Mr. Chadwick?
No.
Or would it suffice to just say that she has been trying to apply for jobs?
Well, she testified to that. I'm curious about Spectrum Health. That is located in Grand Rapids area.
Yeah, I worked there for 15 years.
Worked there for 15 years. Did you apply for any other position at Spectrum Health other than the one that you could not work anymore?
I wasn't given that opportunity to do that. At the time that I stopped working for them, my eyesight was. I'm sorry.
Were you fired?
No, I had FMLA, and after so long of FMLA, I had to get that renewed, and between getting that renewed and then, I started the remote job at Cardio Diagnostics, which was able to make the accommodations.
All right. So you have had essentially no income. No income.
Well,
January of 2024.
I guess that's not essentially because I was able to. I mean, I don't know.
Well, you've received some charity benefits.
I've received assistance from different organizations. I have money saved up that I cashed out my 403B once I stopped the job at Spectrum, which had over $15,000 in it. So I'm able to use the money that I did earn to make sure that, I have money in my pocket.
You were also able to get some HUD loans.
I guess I had a HUD loan when I bought my house. But I was still working at that time, so I haven't had any additional HUD loans since then.
All right. Mr. Kometz, I've avoided, since 2024, when everyone had to do Zoom, I've avoided using the share screen option. I can't get around it today. I see you're pretty agile with that, but I'm going to try.
I've gotten very used to it. Actually, it's easier to see videos now. In court, it was hard to do so, but on Zoom, thanks to share screen, it's easy to share videos and other things. So yes, if you'd care to.
All right. Can you see the document I have on the screen now?
I have to.
All right. I have a question. Okay. This is just a mortgage statement. Is it redacted?
No, nothing's redacted.
Okay. We're going to go off YouTube then for the purposes of this review.